think someday we will actually be able to address the disease. I'm going to give one example. So Bea talks about the teacher's assistants, which are the B cells that help activate the T cells. There is a drug that we use in the clinic called rituximab that depletes B cells. It was first identified as a drug to treat a B cell cancer called a B cell lymphoma. And so if you give patients this drug, it depletes all of their B cells. And that's probably not the best thing in the world, because when you think about it, the B cells play an important role in the immune system, and they're sort of the basis for things like vaccines, so you really don't want to deplete all your B cells. But if you have cancer, that's something that you can do. But what Bea showed in the paper that she had, and in one of our earlier papers that we had together, is that we can use that same drug and treat allergies with it, and it works great. So it's kind of a sledgehammer approach, and it works. And it's not something that we'd want to do long term. But now if we start thinking about how do the B cells teach the T cells, then maybe we can intervene in a way to block that interaction or that teaching without actually physically removing the B cells. And so I think that as we understand more and more about how the two cells talk to each other, we can be smarter about how to intervene in that talk without getting rid of either cell type. So I think we can do it. It's not today, but someday.
So basically what we are doing is to establish the basic mechanism by which the immune response to allergens are developed. So knowing that, we think that we can specifically target these pathways, and maybe we can find a specific drug that can potentially cure asthma or allergy disease. I think so. So here in the study that we are doing, we are just studying the response to one specific allergen, which is the house dust mite. But we believe that the mechanism is similar to other allergens, like pollen, for example, and we believe that, that we can not only help to the people that is allergic to house dust mite, but also to other environmental allergens.
At this point, I don't think that we have any known genes that we can point to that would say that if your kid was tested, that we would say that you were going to have a certain kind of allergy. And I think they have looked for things like peanut allergies, because oftentimes peanut allergies run in families. And so the idea would be that if it runs in a family, there is probably a genetic component, or there could be a genetic component. And I don't think we've identified any genes. So I don't think that at this point we can say you could just do a test and find out if your kid's going to be allergic to peanuts and then not feed them peanuts or whatever. I think that what they will say is that if your child does develop an allergy to certain things, that there are things that you can do environmentally to reduce either their exposure or the amount of time that they have to spend in contact with certain things.
So now what I'm working in the lab is that we know that asthma is a very important condition in children, because in fact it's the most notorious chronic disease during infancy. And even that the asthma attack can develop or begins at any age. It's true that many children they develop the first symptoms by age 5. So what we are trying to do is to understand how this early sensitization to allergens are occurring during infancy in children, so that we can not only try to cure asthma or allergy in adults, but also to try to prevent this early sensitization early in life in children.